every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen, in the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.
Welcome everybody to the Morning Dinner Podcast. Today we got Mr. Dalton Campbell in the house.
What's up, everybody?
Dude, give us a little intro, man. Like, who are you? Like, what do you do? Because we wanted to have you specifically on this podcast because we know we know more about you than the the average viewer out there and audience member would know. So we kind of want to get your perspective on what it is you do, and kind of like how long you've been doing it.
Totally, man. Yeah, so I guess creative visual artist, creative director, whatever you want to call it. I started out as a filmmaker and then kind of got more versatile. So then I started labeling myself as a creative director because I could do more than just, film and edit and all that kind of stuff. But I do everything, man. I film, edit. I live inside Premiere pretty much. Like, literally, I live in Premiere and After Effects. And also, I use a lot of Audition for editing audio, for interviews. And then I just started using Ableton Live. So now I'm like, if I'm not in Premiere, I'm in Ableton. So I'm like always in the computer.
Is that for like music producing?
Yeah, just for fun.
Oh, okay.
I just I don't know, man. I don't know about you guys, but I like to jam out. So
how long you been producing for?
I don't know, man. I've been using Ableton for about 3-4 months. Not that long. I wouldn't really call myself a producer.
I did
like
notice
making like cinematic stuff.
I did notice because I do follow you like on Facebook, and I seen you post those jams, bro.
Thanks. Yeah,
Where
man.
you
All the
post,
time.
like,
I don't know. I'm really into like cinematic stuff. So like Odessa, Chet Porter, like all like cinematic, like electronic stuff.
Do you ever like produce something like
Bitbird stuff?
Do you ever produce something just like, or like put like together a mix based on like a current mood that you're feeling, like an inspiration, like a?
That's kind of why I started doing it. So I don't know if you guys go on Vimeo that much, but Vimeo did a really awesome documentary. And by the way, I'm a Vimeo guy, not really use YouTube that much.
Yeah.
They're both great platforms, but I've been using Vimeo for a long time and never really.
That's kind of how I feel about. That's kind of how I feel about like the whole. Have you ever heard of this platform called Ello? Ello, and so if you go on this app called Ello, it's like basically like an Instagram, but it's usually for like people who do photography and do like creative stuff. And it's not even just it's not even just photographers, but it's also like painters, people who paint or who do any like quick little GIF animations, like people who really take the time to sit down and create something.
Like Behance.
Yeah, kind of like actually,
Behance is very inspirational.
Behance has that would probably
only
be
fire on there. You only find fire on Behance.
That would probably be a better example because
Behance.com.
nobody's heard of.
I still like Vimeo a shit ton because I'd be watching such good videos all the time.
I definitely feel like YouTube, I'll get trapped in this hole of like recommended, like some drama or some like whatever or some cheesy funny. Like I get stuck in 10 hours of dank memes sometimes, like I'm a funny goofy guy, but I feel like when I watch Vimeo, I get really inspired, right? When I watch a video on Vimeo. And there, like I said, there's no offense to YouTube. It's just YouTube's a little different type of content versus Vimeo for me personally. Vimeo, I'll watch a video and I'll be like, oh man, how did he get that camera shot like that? Or how did he color his video like that? Or how did he do this? And then I'll start communicating with people on there and messaging them, asking them how they did certain things and learning info. Where on YouTube, it's like different. I kind of just watch stuff to laugh or to like chill, be funny.
It's a little bit more saturated.
Totally. And I pull more inspiration from Vimeo. But back to the story, we're like getting sidetracked here. So Vimeo put this really cool documentary out called Make. And it's this really dope documentary. Dude, it's so inspiring. If anyone has seen it, you've seen it, but it's amazing. But one of the guys on there who is a creative director, he's a filmmaker and an editor. I noticed that he would pull a guitar and plug it in Ableton and make his own score, his own tracks, like basic stuff. And he's not like an EDM producer or anything, just like basic plucks, and he would like extend them and slow them down. And I'm like, dude, that is such an awesome arsenal to add to your like to your videos or whatever, your portfolio, whatever you want to call it. So I just got a guitar, got Ableton, and then like I just like put it. And I even got a Machine MK2, which is like massive. So I started learning how to make like Odessa chords the other day, bunch of stuff like that. But it's mainly I just like messing around making cinematic stuff. But yeah, I would say a mood influences it. Definitely mood, just like, but really cinematic electronic is like my style, like San Holo, Bitbird type stuff.
Yeah. I think the first time I heard of like cinematic music was when I went on the Music Bed.
Dude, Music Bed's the best website in my opinion.
When I started doing weddings is when I had to like start like how do you find music that you can use? You know what I mean?
It costs money, but it's the best.
It's not a lot of money. It's like $50
bucks a song, and if you get a 5-use license, it's $100.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You can use.
Well, don't they have like a membership, like a monthly membership now?
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think the last time I checked it out, they were doing like a $30 or $40 a month subscription.
That's really rad.
You can use as many songs as you wanted.
Dude, that's like Creative Cloud, but with music. That's amazing.
All these like all these stock video sites are killing, and stock photo sites and everything.
Film Supply, man. I wanted to apply to add stuff on Film Supply. Have you checked out Film Supply yet?
They're an assets website,
Dude,
aren't they?
They are killing it. I don't know. They're partners with MusicBed.
Film Supply.
MusicBed.
Yeah, they create assets, don't they? Like
it's just like a stock footage website, but it's
that's what it is.
But it's like
I was like assets.
But like not your normal like. Girl sipping tea with a window in the background.
It's
or
like very specific.
A hand moving on an iPhone. Like no. It's like people wearing like cool. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People wearing like cool shit, like fashionable, like modern, hip, and they're like doing like weird ass dance moves. Like it's just cinematic, like stuff you would see.
It's more stuff that is not so much corporate, but more like
not corporate
like
at all. Super flavorful, lots of flavor,
yeah.
taste, Vimeo type stuff. So a lot of these guys, they'll do a project and they'll license it to Film Supply, and Film Supply will take all their footage and license it for them. So you're just like, it's a really cool. So if you're stuck and you're like, man, I needed some cool shots, whatever, look up Film Supply. It costs money, but it's like the most awesome.
I was gonna say, do they have a membership, or is that kind of like per clip?
You know what? I don't know. That's a great question. I need to look into it more, man. That's a really good question.
Yeah,
and that could be a big impact on like a lot of people's futures, like filmers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they have a bunch of really awesome, amazing stuff that beats all other websites, like why people start hiring less filmers and start grabbing just more content and creating from there.
Have you always been in Vegas, or where are you originally from?
No, I'm from Texas originally. So I was born in a really small town called Greenville, Texas, which no one's probably ever heard of.
Nope.
You said Greensville?
Greenville.
Okay.
What part of Texas would it be in?
So Greenville, I guess, is like in the south. It's like I would say like an hour from Dallas, an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone mostly knows where Dallas is. It's kind of like I don't know, southern middle-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern area? I don't know, man. That's a great question. I don't really know, but I was there like pretty much my whole life, and then moved to Vegas, man, when I was 21 for no reason.
I was gonna say, what was the reason they made you move to Vegas?
Yeah, man. So I've always been like really independent. So like my parents are really cool and stuff, but I kind of like did my own thing right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those people, man. I just had to like get out and like be independent and learn a lot of things the hard way and stuff. But I don't know. I was just like I worked at this restaurant. And I had like a very basic like relationship and I don't know, I feel like my life was like not complete.
Yeah.
Like I was in this routine of like working, making good money, and it was cool, hanging out with friends. But I was like, man, there's something missing. And I'm like, I just feel like I don't want to be a waiter when I'm like 60 years old, whatever. And there's no offense to people that are waiters. I just didn't want to do it personally and be that.
Some people find different things that make them happy in life, bro. Like for some people,
100%.
all they want to do is they want to find that job that they can put up with. They want to get married and they want to have kids. And they want to have a car and a house. Like that's their dream. And I always say like whatever makes you happy, because at the end of the day you have to live with your life. So if that truly makes you happy, like bro, you could be somebody who's a janitor. If that job fulfills
and if you got your headphones on and you're jamming and you're doing your thing and sweeping up,
you can't be mad
so
at them
be it.
at all.
You're essentially like you're winning at the end of the day. Like you're probably happier than the guy who made millions. You know what I mean? Like that's such a big crazy like
that's
fact
true.
of life.
I mean, we've talked about this multiple times on the podcast, but it's what you love to do, because you can't fake the funk. You can't lie to yourself.
Yeah, you're right, man.
So real quick before we get sidetracked again.
What's
how did you end up like getting started with video? Like how did that happen?
Totally, man. I moved to Vegas. My friend had a house here. I literally had like no money. I waited tables for about a year at Maggiano's in the Strip. It's a fashion show. But I've been with the company like 4 years. But anyways, just turned out one of those things where I was dating someone who worked there, and it was just like one of those things where you don't dip your pen in the company ink, I guess is like the quote.
Yeah.
But I got fired for like a dumb reason for not bringing in a cup of soup or something. And I got fired, and I always filmed the homies riding BMX. I've always rode BMX since I was like 12 or something.
So that's what got you kinda
BMX and skate scene, if anyone knows.
So before anything, what camera were you using?
Actually, man, if you want to take it way back, I had when I was like 14, it was like a VHS. Yes. Like my mom's camera.
That's how
whatever
I
my mom
started.
had, man. I didn't, So then you buy like the fake fisheye that like screws on.
Yeah, the shitty ass
and
one.
And it would like have the big like warp on the end and the black circle in it.
Is that the one? Is that lens that? Back in the day, you had to flip the lens around because.
There was a couple. Optic made one, I think, that was like a screw-on fisheye, which is like not, if anyone knows, not true fisheye. But yeah, man, I used to film like the homies riding BMX and stuff like. And I would make iMovie. And the cool thing is, the first thing I would do is when LimeWire just came out.
Oh.
And remember LimeWire days?
Yeah,
and
good old times.
First thing I got was like Sony, it was Premiere 4.1 or something like that.
Oh shit!
Old Premiere, dude.
You were able to download Premiere on LimeWire?
Dude, someone had Premiere on LimeWire.
I couldn't even get a freaking MP3, bro.
Oh, it would take me forever.
Yeah.
My mom had the slowest dial-up. You know the
bro.
You know, and the cheapest Dell.
I'd always try to find skate videos and it'd be pornos, bro, and I'd be so salty. Like,
yeah, man,
all right, man.
those pornos will get you.
That's probably what got me
like Batman.
That's probably what got me looking at porn in the first place is LimeWire, bro. Because I didn't know where to get it before that. Yeah, I would just search for like weird song names.
Yeah, so I would download. I got Premiere like 4.1, which it looks insanely difficult. Like it looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Like, launching like whoa, what do these buttons do?
It wasn't very user friendly.
And I found some BMX videos, and I would download BMX videos, put them in Premiere, and re-edit them myself to new music. That's like what got me started. I'm like, this is really dope. Like most people don't like either enjoy editing or you don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, man. I just like I loved it. I loved being able to take something visual and move it around and make it how I wanted it to be or whatever, move it around.
That's crazy. So the first content that you were creating wasn't even
14, 15.
But it wasn't even like your own content. Like you were so driven by creating something new that even if you hadn't shot it, you would still edit it and make something new.
I wanted to make something, man.
That's kind of how like some people do AMVs, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Exactly.
I had a homegirl that I met in Cali. And she told me that she got started in video because she was doing AMVs. So she was taking like these anime clips from these anime shows,
music to it.
and then adding those, which is crazy because that's how I got into anime in the first place. Because I would look like Linkin Park songs or whatever, and then I started Dragon Ball Z fighting and everything.
Oh man!
So that's what got me in anime. But
that's tight.
Sorry to derail you.
No, it's cool, man. So I did that, but that was like way before I knew it was gonna be a career. I was like 14.
Yeah.
I didn't start filming full time, take it serious. I was about 22.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 29 now, so it's been about 7 years. So yeah, about 22. Anyways, long story short, I got fired, and my friends were like, dude, you should just film. Like, you're good at it. But like taking that leap from a 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it. But I made really good money. I make like $400 cash a night.
Now,
so,
was that in Vegas or was that in Texas?
No, here in Vegas.
Oh,
Texas was like a little less. You make a lot more being a server on the strip.
Okay.
But like, dude, I just made like good money, and I was like, man, I don't know. And I tried to get unemployment, and they said I broke company policy, so I didn't even have unemployment to fall back on. I literally just got like here's $400 a night, and I have no savings, nothing, and just cut it off. And they're like, okay, now like go out and film. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do? I don't know how to film. I don't know how to charge people. I didn't go to film school. I didn't know any of this. So basically what I did was I had a GH1. So if anyone remembers the GH1, it was one of the first DSLRs to do raw photo and decent video.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it was like 1080 or 720, which is a huge deal 7 years ago. Because DSLRs.
Wait, you just started 7 years ago?
Yeah, 7 years ago.
Wow.
So I mean, then because like
I was 22.
That's like the same time. Like I think I kind of started
2012, 2013.
Okay, so maybe because I think the first camera that I had was a Canon XHA1. It was DV tape, but that was in like 2011.
This was my first like my own camera.
Yeah, like a nice DSLR.
Yeah, like a GH1, and I just like, dude, I basically went around downtown and I just started asking people if I could film stuff. Like I would film homies, film anything, man, whatever. I would do anything, dude. It was to a point where I would like just tell people I'll film you, and they'd be like, how much? I'd be like, whatever you can give me.
That's
I was so broke, dude. Man. Yeah, I literally had just enough money when I got fired to pay rent for 3 months. Like rent was like $300, and I had like $900. And literally, I'm like, I could either quit and go home and go back to my parents. I'm like, or I can pay rent for 3 months and try it out. So I tried it, man. I paid rent for 3 months. Ate ramen noodles like every day. Was broke. Couldn't afford anything. Couldn't hang out. I was on YouTube learning how to edit, learning this, learning that, and I was just grinding.
Was there anyone that you like preferred to learn from, or that you like?
Yeah, totally. So big inspirations would be Joe Simon, who's a BMX filmer that upgraded and started doing like these crazy cinematic weddings, and now he does like commercials for Carnival Cruise, and he's featured at NAB every year. Like he does like Toxic Cannon booths. Like the dude's like insanely creative. So I thought it was cool to see someone that went from BMX background to like different things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's cool. This is a really good guide for me to like follow. Him, and then Liam Underwood, who was Skrillex's filmer. So Liam Underwood does a bunch of stuff for like Alsa, but I was like really into his style. I'm like, man, this is so cool, because I was really into raw cinematic clips. So I really love the feeling of like handheld, a little bit of shakiness. Like sometimes you just the moment is so raw, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's just a moment.
Yes.
And it gives you a feeling when you watch that clip. You're like, oh, it like gives you goosebumps. You're like, oh man, like there's just certain things that you can create and some things you can't recreate. And I was really interested in the style. It was really raw. It would show like Skrillex would be like fast cuts. It'd be like Skrillex in the back of a tuk-tuk, Skrillex watching fireworks, Skrillex DJing. There was no music. It was just raw clips of raw audio going cut, cut, cut. And I'm like, this is so...
So was he kind of
dope.
one of the ones that started the whole, like, how most people film EDM artists and whatnot?
I would say that he was the most cinematic recap guy.
Yeah.
Totally 100%. If you don't know his stuff, look him up. Liam Underwood. Amazing stuff. Look up Skrillex in Mexico. That was my biggest
I remember that.
inspiration for doing nightlife stuff. And I hadn't done nightlife stuff yet, and I watched Skrillex in Mexico, and I'm like, whoa, this is sick.
Wait,
It's
so
like
that was
a
like
movie.
2012?
It was probably like 2013, 14, after like a year maybe.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start shooting like nightlife stuff until later. But yeah, I just went around and shot stuff for free. And dude, I almost gave up. I was like broke. I had $2 in my bank account. I rode the bus to every gig, like anywhere I could. Didn't have a car. Like I was so broke. And my account was like about to go negative. And I got lucky, man. And my first ever client was like Insert Coins.
Yes.
And they were like, cool. Hey man, there was a BMX / nightlife event there for like Labor Day or something. I'm like, oh cool. And they're like, cool. Hey, we like your stuff. They had seen some BMX videos. I was filming the homies, just trying to get like $20 here or $5 here so I could eat. And then they were like, oh dope. We'll give you $300 for a video. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm rich.
Wait, so
I was like
was that your
Dragon
first
Ball
paying-
Z, like when he's like on fire and he's like, this isn't even my final form.
He's like,
That's
shit,
how I felt in that
that's
moment.
tight.
$300, man.
Wait, so was that your first paying gig?
That was my first like legit paying gig. And what's funny is I had Sony Vegas, the hacked one,
Yes.
and I had a really crappy Dell, and I had the GH1. And I was so excited after I filmed the event. I went home to edit, and my computer was so slow that I would have to, if I wanted to see a cut, I would have to export 5 seconds and then watch it and then go back and then cut it and then export it. So I didn't have I couldn't render. My computer was so slow. I had to actually export pieces that I wanted to see cuts of. So I literally spent probably triple the amount of time working on it that a normal person would work on. Well, and I had it ready in the morning, and they were like, what?
It does trip me out a little bit, man. Like, everything I'm hearing is exactly what I had to go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not as good as... Because I think when we met that one time in Insert Coins, I think you were telling me about, Neat Video, and I was like, what? Neat Video?
Oh, that's right. The grainer.
Like,
it just came out of the noise.
I was like, damn, this fool giving me all the tips. Because everybody else I used to work with was like, nah, I'm not going to tell you.
Dude, that's how it is, man. A lot of people in the industry are like, they're not cool, but it's like, it's free knowledge. But, yeah, man, I'm all about the information.
So you went from working as a waiter to straight freelance,
Dude,
right?
I've had so many jobs. I think I mentioned to you earlier before the podcast, but I've literally been... I've worked my whole life, man. My parents owned pizza restaurants when I was since I was 4 years old. So I've always worked on weekends, always. Like my dad's like, you want to go to the movies? Cool. I'm like, yo, Dad, my friends are going to the movies. $20? He's like, yeah, go pick the weeds out of the front yard. I'm like, all right. So I go pick the weeds, But I was just learning that mentality of work hard, get paid kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But yeah, I would say, what was the question again?
So you went from being a waiter to
I've
freelancing.
been a dishwasher at restaurants. I've been a pizza delivery guy. I've been a manager.
Dang.
I used to stock the shelves at Bath and Body Works. I used to push the button for roller coasters at Six Flags. I've done, when you go to Six Flags, they got little kiddie rides, the airplanes.
Yeah.
I used to be the airplane operator guy, man.
Oh,
wearing
man.
khaki.
How do you even
stuff.
get that job, bro?
Dude,
you don't want that job.
I've always wondered, how did that person?
You
end
don't
up
want
there?
that job, man. The ride has a little thing in it, So when it spins circles, the kids, when they pull the handle, it goes up, and the kids, get happy, and their parents are like, yeah. Well, some of the kids don't know, so parents would yell at me. It'd be spinning in circles. And then the kid would be sitting there like this, and the other kids, airplanes would be going up, and then one kid's airplane, they'd be like, "Hey man, make that airplane go up!" Like what the, now I would get yelled at, dude, by angry parents at Six Flags.
Was there any job that you would say let's say you never found your passion for video, let's say you never had a passion for video or anything creative, was there any job that you had in your past that you can see yourself working at?
Waiting tables, dude.
Waiting tables.
I would have done that till the day I die. If I wanted to get fired, it was the best and worst thing that happened to me. Because worst thing is at that time I thought I was doing amazing in life. I was making good money and had good friends. I was like, man, this is cool. I live in Vegas, because I'm not from Vegas, so moving here was really cool. And then, but yeah, that's the best thing that happened to me. And then my client ended up going back 2 or 3 years later when I started becoming decently successful, and I saw the manager who fired me. And I thanked him for firing me. I was like, dude, thanks, man.
You straight up just went up to his face and said,
he came to the table because everyone remembered me.
Yeah.
Because they were surprised when I got fired. People were like, what? Why'd you get fired, man? You're cool. You're always on time. And, because I got fired for a dumb reason. But, he came up to the table and asked me how I was doing. I'm like, dude, I'm doing great, man. I'm ever since you fired me, I'm this is one of my clients right here. I'm like, meet my client me, a manager who fired me 3 years ago, and I'm like, dude,
that's such a baller move.
Yeah.
I feel like
I know.
It's
and
kind of like running into your ex-girlfriend,
Yeah. Dude,
and then like you see that. Hey, look at my new girlfriend.
Hey, look at my
Look
new
at
girl.
her.
New
You
girl,
know
who
what I mean?
dis?
Yeah.
I was like, new job, who dis? Anyways, he was sitting there like looking. You could tell that he was like cringing to smile, and I was like, dude, I'm like killing it. I'm like, my client's taking me out. I'm getting paid to do what I love now, man. I'm like, thanks to you. If you would have never fired me, I'm like, I would probably still be waiting tables. So that would be my answer. I'd probably be like customer service, like waiting tables or something like that, because I like people.
Damn, we would probably still be working at Cashman.
Wow. Yeah, man. Where did you guys come from? Let me hear your backstory.
Let's hear your backstory, Keem.
Well, my first job ever was at Radio Shack.
Nice.
And I can attest to the old quote that says, you know how they say you have questions, we have answers. Yeah. There's an actually more accurate version that says you got questions, we got blank stares.
They would ask you guys stuff that you didn't know.
There was no training, bro.
Oh,
the way that company ran its structure, like it was on the job training. So if nothing came up for whatever it was that you're supposed to know, you would never know it. You know what I mean? Which is probably why that company. Did it go out of business?
Most of them I heard closed.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Like
a lot of them ended up closing. But then after that, we ended up working. Me and Chuck started working at David Sachs.
What is David Sachs? That sounds familiar.
David Sachs.
Sachs.
It's a theater. It's a theater company. Like he has a bunch of theaters inside the Planet Hollywood. So he's got a bunch of shows. So I did the video. Chuck did the animation and graphics for him.
Like After Effects.
After Effects, yeah.
He had like these LED walls that he wanted, like motion graphics on. Mm-hmm. Bro, I had no clue how to do After Effects.
And you were like,
crazy.
hire me. And you on YouTube.
I was like, I'm gonna learn this shit.
Well, no,
I got a computer, man. Hire me.
They wanted me to do that, and I was so not confident in After Effects. Like I knew how to dabble, right? But I had no idea how to do it. And I knew Chuck had just gotten started, like dabbling his feet in it. So I was like, I know a guy who's a pro at it. So then I gave him the resume.
Shout out to Keem for that, man.
I gave him a resume, and then right on the
it.
spot they hired him, bro.
Feeding the homies.
It was so dope. And then afterwards, we both started working at Cashman.
Yeah.
I got fired.
No, not at Cashman.
Wasn't it?
No, at David Sachs you got fired.
Yeah, David Sachs I got fired, and then I went to Cashman is
the wedding video.
So they do wedding photography and wedding video, and they have all the major contracts with all the casinos here in Vegas. So like the MGM, the Mandalay Bay.
So they're just like a turn and burn wedding company.
Yeah,
so not my style.
You have to tell them it's the fucking so it's like, and this is why I kind of like live broadcasting, because you learn it with those controllers, because that's what it is. It's the three.
That a TriCaster.
It's the three cameras in the wall. That's you only like limited to these.
Oh my god.
And bro, it was the corniest thing. So we'd do like 6, 7, 10 weddings a day.
I've done 20.
Oh my god.
And it's just like
dude.
literally
every 30 minutes, sometimes every 15 minutes.
When I film one wedding with like my team, I tell the client 90-day turnaround time. Dude, 10 and 20 a day is like...
Well, the thing is, these weren't either super complex either. So the weddings that we were shooting were basically like, you would meet with the groom 5 minutes before the wedding. You gave him the lavalier. You kind of gave him the whole spiel.
And it was just the ceremonies being filmed?
It was just the ceremony. So they would walk in. You would run so you had a whole system set up to where you would put a DVD in there.
Did it have like a button zoom?
Yeah.
All
that shit, bro.
We lived on
I would
those
have been
presets.
memeing him just straight up, just super tight, close up.
We lived on those presets. Like, you can control it manually too, but a lot of the times it was just like click, and it would go to a wide click. It would go to like the ring shot.
What?
You had them all rigged in? It was a
damn, that's a really sucky introduction into the film world.
Yeah, that was actually,
that's like not creative at all.
Well, I think
that's cool though.
We were already doing video and whatnot before that, but it was just a job to get by. And that, like, the other thing is too, was the funniest thing was like, before I quit and went to Sapphire, I was like, I wanted to do videos because they had like, it was like a program from like the 90s, so the transitions were like the corniest, like flames,
stars,
a basketball going by,
dude, the one with the wipers, like the what do you call it? What's the
star wipe? No, the
barn doors.
Blinds. The blinds, but one blind transition where they all like turn, and they had like stars, and now data moshing's cool again. So hey, the old transitions are making a comeback. Yeah. So
we should work on a preset pack, bro, and put it out for download.
Do the same presets that
star
everybody does.
Star transitions are gonna be cool once Sam Colder starts doing it.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
everyone's gonna do star transitions.
Everybody's gonna hop on that.
It's gonna be like star transition, backflipping off a cliff into water, and then star transition, hanging out of an airplane or whatever. You know, it's gonna be cool.
But that's enough about us. I had another question for you, bro.
Sure, man.
Oh yeah, so we saw you recently got like a studio space.
Yeah.
How did you go from being a waiter, bro, to going full time with your freelance to now having your own studio space? Like, what was the driving force that made you decide like I need to get a space for my own?
Well, the driving force for that was just like working from home is a blessing, but also a pain in the butt at the same time. Because the first like 3 years, I didn't mind working. I have a laptop in my room. So it was like cool. I just grinded it out. It's just the motivation was there. And then after a while, when you start working on a lot of projects, and then when you work and you sleep and eat and play video games at home, it's like really distracting.
Is it kind of hard to differentiate like when is work time and when is play time?
Kinda, and it sucks that I say that though, because like the place I live now has like the coolest, like, I don't know if you guys will probably have Gabe on here soon, but like, dude, Gabe's house is like which is the owner of the guy I rent from. The house is amazing. It's awesome, and it's built for creatives. Like the whole living room is a wraparound desk with like monitors and like yoga balls. It looks like Google headquarters, like mini. Yeah. And we call it HQ. It's called headquarters, So it's really cool and it's inspiring. But like when I just got in this like weird routine of like where I wasn't motivated. I'd be at home, I'd wake up and be like, like, do I want to work? Nah, I want to play some Fortnite. Do I want to, whatever, World War II, whatever my little brother's playing online so I could play with him. Or I'd go eat, I just got distracted really easy. Yeah. And in the house, the place I lived at before that, I had an extra spare bedroom that I had as like the editing music room. I'm like, it was just nice to get into a separate space. Because I feel like for creative people, our environment is a huge part in what shapes what we do, right? Like, the more comfortable you are in an environment, then the more you're able to create and inspired to create. So I just felt like I was kind of looking for a spot with some homies. We could like split a spot. Didn't really work out, but I just got really lucky, and I've been in there for like 7 years. I've never had a space before. I got really lucky, and someone just showed me a little spot downtown, and I'm like, cool, man. It was like really small space in this like really ugly old building, and I was like, but this is cool. Like, I want to build a really cool space inside of this like really weird old building that no one's gonna know like what's in there, because I don't need foot traffic. I just need a place where I can go and create and have friends come over, because I get inspired by other creatives too. Yeah, I get inspired by you guys, musicians, whatever. I just like people who create things. And I like them to be around me. So I just found myself going to coffee shops a lot. And I'm like, why don't I just get my own space, make like a cool like editing spot. And I got lucky. I'm right next to 2 awesome coffee spots. I'm right next to Vesta and Makers and Finders.
Yeah, we're going to have to go check it out.
So anytime, yeah. I'm literally in an old locksmith building.
So you're on Charleston?
I'm on California and Casino Center.
Oh, wow. That's
Dude,
crazy.
It was like this random little office from like where they made keys or something. And I put grass turf in there.
Yes.
I put palm trees. I put neon lights everywhere. I got like a neon ice cream light, neon like green cactus lights. I've got a huge editing like bay area in the middle. I've got couches. I've got free hanging swings. I've got yoga balls. I've got guitars. I've got Casio SK1. I've got mini chord keyboard. I got a Machine MK2. I've got Ableton. It's just a really cool space that I wanted to make just to like be inspired by and to create, and just like, light some sage, clear out the air, and then just create awesome stuff. So I got lucky. It's in a cool spot. The rent was good, and it was month to month, because most places want like 3 years.
Yeah, most.
And I'm like, as a creative person, it's really, we don't want to commit for that long, because the way we work is like things change. We're like we're like a roller coaster. Yeah. You don't want to be stuck in one little square spot for 3 years. That's crazy. That'll drive. That's like working at an office space or a desk. Yeah. So it was month to month. I took it. It's cool. You guys are welcome to come by anytime you want. No, but it's cool. We'll it's like it's there. Hidden, dude. It's hidden because like it literally has an old broken locksmith building sign. And when I moved in, the guy's like, "Yo, man, you want me to put like your logo up there, like neon sign?" I'm like, "Nope." I'm like, broken down locksmith building is perfect.
You should have still taken the neon sign though, man. Take the neon sign and put it over your desk. That'd have been dope.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll get something made soon. But
so I see that you've been putting like neon signs in your studio.
Yeah, I love neon lighting, man.
I gotta ask, like, is there like a Do you like, are you into that super neon light thing, or is it kind of like, do you just know somebody that makes them?
I'm into moody stuff, cinematic, dude. I love anything that's like
color,
moody, and I feel like my favorite neon combination is probably like blue and pink, even though you see it on Instagram, whatever, all the time. I just love, I love the way neon lights, and it's got to be like a real neon light. Yeah. Even though gels work good too, but also neon lights give off this weird, I don't know, it's just a cool like color. But I mean, I use gels as well, all that stuff. I don't know, man. I just like cinematic, raw, like cyberpunk, like is really cool. Like I like all that stuff, man. I like grain. I love grain, man. Like I love to zoom in and like add grain or whatever on Lightroom.
That's tight.
Or I'm even so nerdy, I bought like true 60mm grain filmed from a 60mm camera.
Is
like
that
3 years ago. Gorilla Grain.
Yeah.
I spent like $250 on it. People are like, "You're crazy, man. Go to YouTube." And I'm like, "Dude, it's the quality of the grain.
It's one of those.
It's sharp as grain.
So
Okay,
sharp,
it's
man.
Clean grain.
So I love all that stuff. Anything cinematic. So, but yeah, neon lights are awesome. They create a mood. I like lighting that just creates a mood, creates a vibe.
That's kind of how I feel about just light in general. Like we could have just random, bright white lights in here, but we like having like just color everywhere, like the walls. It just looks good,
it's
man.
Awesome.
You
it's
wake
like,
up
you
and
never
you're
grow
like,
up. You're like a kid.
Exactly.
This is exactly how a kid would, with a crazy imagination, would light his house.
We need more Philip Hughes lights, bro.
Yeah, I know, man. I like mine because like that's how my little studio is. I have like all the neon lights and everything. So I don't know. It just makes it different because it's not a boring
vibe, like I said,
room.
the environment.
I think it has something to do with like the way your brain works too, and the way your brain subconsciously perceives things. Whereas opposed, like if I go to an office,
it's all plain and dead.
Ugly yellow
it's
lighting.
the horrible yellow light that's like typical. I can't stand it.
Whereas
And no matter what white balance you put your camera on, it's still just this gross yellow horrible light. You're like, what is this? Who made this light? Like, I know exactly what you mean.
So that's got to be there's something subconscious in the brain, man. Because I notice like whenever I come home, I'm just happier.
Totally, dude. 100%, man. Yeah. Colors, we love all that stuff.
So Chuck and I have both seen your reel and your work, and we've known you for a long time. We follow your work, and you're really good at it.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
One of the questions I had was, has there ever been like a big creative? What has been your biggest creative like hurdle? Like like something you had to jump over? Like,
yeah, man, that's a great question. I have actually a really interesting story for that. So, obviously, besides just making the jump to being freelance and learning as you go, I would say one of the biggest hurdles was just getting caught up in like a cool gig or something, I guess you could say. So basically, I went on tour with this artist group called Galantis, or like a big EDM act, and it was cool, man. They're really rad dudes. The team was cool. Like we're like a family. We're on the road for like a year. We went to like 5 continents. So like I was really blessed and happy to be able to get paid to do what I love and travel the world. Like that's insane. And the guys were cool and the music was great and the festivals were awesome. So it was really, really great. The only problem was what I noticed is like after shooting the same thing every day for a year, even though we were in a different town, a different stage, it just felt it started feeling repetitive, I guess. And it was a really creative struggle for me. So like, a lot of people think like the struggle is like getting to be a creative person, do what you want. But I think the bigger struggle is like, it's like a self battle. It's like, sometimes your brain just like, it doesn't want to create, or like I guess it's like writer's block. Yeah. But like for creative, like creative block, right? So just shooting the same thing every day, even though it was fun, it was amazing, and I had a great time doing it, creatively it was just draining me because I was like, my brain couldn't think anymore. Like, well, what's cool? I've already done this.
It's in routine.
And I was running, routine. I was running out of things to do.
Because Chuck can actually attest to that too.
Yeah, because
totally,
I've been doing like Commonwealth for like almost like 2 years now, and I shoot the same venue all the time. So it's like
really hard to get.
And I've tried.
It's a grind.
I've tried everything creative, like jumping over the damn gate and fucking like holding my camera a certain way, and I'm like,
it turns into a grind, man.
I can't do anything anymore.
So I think that's one of the biggest hurdles. And what happened was I ended up leaving the tour, even though I was getting paid amazing. There was nothing wrong with the rate. There was nothing wrong with the crew. It was just a personal thing. You know? It was just something in me just said you need to move on to something different. Like I said, it was a great gig and I was blessed to have it. But just as a creative person, I would say the biggest hurdle was just I wasn't feeling happy at what I was creating. So I needed to move on to the next thing. So I left, and dude, I'm like, it was a super awesome decision. Even though I missed the tour, I'm super happy because now I'm focusing on things that what I want to create and kind of doing a little more work based around like what I like.
I feel like you've kind of stayed true to your morals, like kind of how the way you left your job, because it just it was. I mean, you did get fired, but the reason you didn't go back to a job is because you felt that hurdle of like something's gotta be something's gotta change. Something's gotta be different.
Same as when I moved to Vegas. I was like, something's gotta change, man.
So do you see yourself living in Vegas like for a while now?
Oh, that's a great question, man. I love Vegas, and I don't know if you guys are from here or not.
I'm born and raised.
But like, dude, people that are not from here, it's a whole different planet for them. Like, people I live in Texas would save up all year just to come here and blow all their money.
Really?
So, dude, yeah. Like, you can't just, there's no casinos like in a small town in Texas. Like, you can travel to places that have them, but like, dude, Vegas is one of a kind. Entertainment, gambling, nightlife, clubs.
24 hours.
Like, dude, you can gamble, drink on the street, watch a show, and watch Calvin Harris in the same night. Are you kidding me? Like,
it's a playground for adults.
Exactly. So like, you know, when I first moved here, is like, but it's a new to me, even though I'm not from here. Like the city's still new to me, even though I've been here like 7 years now. It's still new, and I like it, and it's cool. I don't know. I don't want to like know where I see myself living 5 years from now. Because like, who knows? Maybe, like I said, I might feel like I'm trapped and I need to, you know, go somewhere else. But for now, it's cool. And we're getting like we got a hockey team that did it amazing, which adds way more to the city. And, you know, now we're getting like football team, and not even just that. There's actually a lot of culture here that people don't see, because a lot of people are just like, oh, casino, gambling, strip. But like, dude, there's some really rad people that live here. Like, there's a lot of people like you guys and me and other people in the community who like create stuff. And there's artists, musicians, and filmers and photographers. There's a lot of people who don't really get a lot of spotlight that live in Vegas, because you have so many different cultures coming together in one culture. So it's kind of like a melting pot here.
Yeah,
there's so many people.
A huge melting pot.
Yeah,
here.
like you would never know who's from Vegas.
I feel like it's still this city is still in its infancy, man. Like
Dude,
where it's gonna
so
be,
fast.
and it's probably one of the smallest cities like on the West
It's a
Coast,
small,
man.
big
Like
city,
like
for sure.
for as much traffic and foot traffic that Vegas gets, the size of the city does not reflect it, man. Like you know, you go somewhere like LA, you could drive for a straight hour, bro. Where here, if you drive 30 minutes, you're outside of Vegas. You know what I mean? Like,
no, totally, man. That's true.
So, outside of like photo and video, like what would you say? Do you have any like hobbies outside of photo and video that kind of help you?
Yeah, man. If I'm not doing like filmmaking stuff, I like playing video games. I've always been a nerd from day one. Like,
Fortnite.
Yeah, I play Fortnite mainly. My little brother begged me to play it. He's like 15, so I think like it's standard that all 15-year-olds that have played Fortnite at least once in their life. So he begged me to play it. You know, I was playing like World War II and stuff like that, Call of Duty kind of guy. But I like video games to clear the brain. I don't want to be like a streamer or anything. I just like to play games, man. Same with like creating. You can create on games like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh my god,
Roller Coaster Tycoon, dude!
Classic.
Every creative's dream.
Classic.
So I'm not in my spare time. I play video games. I go on Ableton. I ride my bike. I love riding. Boosted board. I have a boosted skateboard that I ride everywhere. I don't vlog on it like Casey does.
Bro,
but I just love cruising on it, man.
Real quick, what's the weight capacity on a boosted board? Because I've been thinking about getting one.
I'm 290 and I can go like 25 on it.
Damn.
So
I'm,
I got.
So if I get
battery.
two.
No. Yeah, the board is a little flexible because it's a longboard. I don't know, man. I think you could probably rock one.
I don't know, man. My dad bought me a skateboard when I was like, I must have been like 9 or 10, man. Only experience I've ever had in a skateboard. I stepped on it wrong and I flipped back, bro. Hit my head.
I mean that's part of it. That's part of skating, action sports in general, man. You fall and you get back up. That's the mentality. You know, like you gotta learn the balance. You're not born with skate balance. You gotta learn it.
Do you still BMX?
Yeah, man. I tried to. It's actually been a couple months that I've rode, man. But dude, I always consider myself a BMXer from like the very beginning. I love riding, man. Even though I'm like I haven't rode, I can still go to a skate park right now, drop in the bowl, hit a double peg grind, disaster. Like, I mean, I was still throwing like tail whips like a couple years ago. Even though I would ride like 5 times a year, I would do like go to the skate park, do a couple tail whips, and be like, all right, cool, later.
That's it, yeah.
So I love it, man. And that was like one of the things too is like, I mean, when it be different, it's like every BMX and skate film, not all of them, but at the beginning it was like fisheye, VX, fisheye. Like it was just like, and I remember when I upgraded to, when you'd upgrade to HD and the BMX skateboard, people would like hate on you, like, nah, HD's not cool.
It's VX or die.
It's gross. It doesn't.
VX or die.
The frame rate doesn't look right. It's weird. It doesn't do slow mo right. People just were talking mad smack, and I was like, even though I still have BMX, man, some of the filming just drives me crazy. But now a lot of people are getting more cinematic with it. There's a lot of amazing skate videos out. Like I follow Chris Ray, who does like stuff for DC, and he shoots Reds.
I think they just did a video, I don't know, or a little project. I forgot what it was, but they got like 6 different like skate videographers, and they put each one on different ones. So they did like a Super 8 guy, a Super Red Cinematic, a regular DSLR, a VX,
dope.
And they just seen how they each use
film a project. Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's kind of.
It's always gonna be different. That's what's cool about making like videos and photos and stuff, dude. Like no one's ever gonna take the exact same photo or video ever.
Yeah,
like
I've noticed that because I've taken like inspiration from Pinterest because like that's kind of how like Pinterest to me is like the Vimeo for photography is like also because you see a lot of different stuff that you can just search for like I don't know black and white photography and you see like all these different the way they use like the way I look at it is the way they use light. How are they using it to like show like shadows like how are they controlling the light? Where was I going with that?
Why use Pinterest to get it? No photos ever.
Oh
gonna be the same.
exactly. No photos ever gonna be the same. Sorry, I go off on tangents sometimes.
That's cool, man. Go for it.
But I try to recreate photos, and they always come out different. I don't know if it's like the camera that you're using, from the angle that you take it at, to the way you post process the image. Like, it just comes out completely different.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing, right? Is like, technically people don't hire us just because we're guys with cameras. Yeah, they hire what's in here. Yeah. What's in our brain. Like, we come up with this stuff, you know. So you can make anything. Let's
talk a little bit about that, like, because we've seen your work and you're pretty dope, man. Thank you, man. What have you learned about directing, as far as like the difference between not directing a project and actually taking a physical role of like saying this is how you do things? And
it makes a huge difference in the project. You know, the direction's like a huge key, because like you gotta always have the right direction. But like, I would just say, like, directing stuff, your own stuff, is just cool, because like you're basically seeing the vision, and you're trying to help the client. You're trying to see their vision, and then you're trying to link their vision with your vision and make it work for both of you. Or if you're just shooting for yourself,
it's almost like trying to explain your imagination to somebody, right?
Dude, yeah, exactly. Yeah, director's a huge part. You know, like, you can direct anything. You can direct people how to film, how to do photos, how to do art, how to paint, all kinds of stuff. You know, you're just like, your creative mind is like directing something.
You want to know what's crazy, man? And this is something that kind of like I want to see from you. I want you to take up photography, because I don't know. Like, for me, what helped me learn about directing was photography, man. When I started doing portraits. When you're working with somebody who hasn't modeled before, or maybe they're just pretty, but they don't really model. You, as a photographer, need to direct them how to be in front of that camera, and if you don't do a good job, it comes across completely. Yeah. So I feel you, man. So like, that's right. one of the interesting things is, like, I think photography.
One of the big things about being director too is just being a people person, understanding people, how to talk to people. You know, you don't want to be hey man, turn your head that way. I'm not gonna tell you again. Like, you don't want to make someone uncomfortable. You want to be like, hey, like, that was great, but like, if we can get one more take, but maybe like this, that'd be awesome. They're like, yeah, I got you, man.
I feel like that's every director's like hidden message, like, that's great, but let's do that one more time.
Positive, and then but don't yell at people. Like, you don't work at Subway or McDonald's, whatever. You know,
that's why it kind of scares me, because it still looks like, doing like PA jobs back in the day. They were still like, it was so many dicks.
Totally, man, dude. Fuck, man. I get hired for like behind the scenes videos sometimes, and I did one for Blizzard last year. Blizzard was doing what is that shooter game?
Is it the
Overwatch?
Overwatch was like huge at the time. They're doing like tournaments, and I was like, they were like, they had the live stream guys, but they were like, Blizzard wanted a cool recap video of the event that wasn't like typical live stream, like on tripod robot. Yeah. Like, they wanted like someone to do cool stuff, So like, I was on DSLR, and I had a Kessler second shooter slider and glide cam, all these things. I remember just like the vibe in the room, because I had to film behind the scenes in the room where the guys were doing live stream, right? So they're not used to some young kid coming in and like getting the cool gig, getting the cool footage, Yeah. And they hated on me, bro. Like, they were giving me dirty looks. They would tell me like, don't film my face, don't film here. You get really, really bad energy, and that's just part of like proving people wrong. It's like, I remember when I first started, I had a roommate at one time. He's like, dude, your videos suck. And I'm like, what? Yeah, he was a dick, and he was like, your videos suck. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, your videos really suck. But I always wanted to prove him wrong. I'm like, dude, I'm good, man. I promise, I'm good, man. Like, give me a chance. So I always like,
I think that's actually better, because you don't always want yes man.
Yeah, you don't always want yes man.
Because you'll never get good. You'll be like, oh, I'm amazing, I'm great, but when somebody tells you your work sucks, and maybe you need to like do something different.
Turn negative to positive, man. Take that negative energy and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna make a cool video.
Oh yeah.
And progress from there. So yeah. But there's gonna be people like that no matter what industry you work in, whether you're like in food or whatever, man. There's always some people who just like are haters, and they don't like the newer, younger, creative generation coming in. But
that's one thing that I will say, man, is no matter how talented you are or how good you are at what you do, if you're a dick, no one's gonna want to work with you.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Man.
Like, you can be the most coolest dude on set. I mean, maybe to a point. You know what I mean? But even if you're not that talented or that good, if you provide like a good attitude, you make everybody else feel good. That's one thing. Again. That's one thing that people will always remember about you, is how you made them feel.
Yeah, because if you're a dick, nobody's gonna ever want to work with you.
And that's one of my recipes to like success, even though like I'm not a speaker or a book writer or anything like that. But I have people ask me all the time, like, oh man, how do you shoot what you shoot? How do you get these gigs? Like, because I've always been a respectful, polite person, and I've always been reliable and a hard worker, man. That's it. Like I always work hard, and I'm a cool dude. I'm not like, oh man, I don't complain. Like this gig sucks, whatever. Whatever. I mean, maybe to my girlfriend if we're on the car ride home.
Yeah, you could do it to close people.
It's couples, you got to vent, whatever. Yeah, but like I'm not, being a dick to people and stuff. So people, they're like, oh, well, this guy's a good worker and he's got a good attitude.
Yeah,
they'll hire you, man. No matter what you do, whether you work in a restaurant or you're a creative person,
you
want to bring you back.
You always got to have that person that you can just say anything to, man. Like. I feel like for me that's Chuck sometimes.
What? We always vent to each other.
We vent to each other, but we also.
It's good to have two eyes on certain things.
Oh,
you
for
can be like,
sure.
yo, man, is this photo dope? And Chuck will be like, nah, it's whack. And you'd be like, thanks, dog.
and I know when he tells me it's the truth because he doesn't like 99% of my work. So when he tells me,
I don't like it.
Do you?
Oh, I liked your work.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
No, but I'm saying I know because the thing is, me and Chuck talk trash to each other 24/7. Bro. Like we're roommates. We've been friends for how long, bro?
5 years, 6 years.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Like we've been through for a lot of things together. So like we kind of like take each other for granted, but like we also appreciate each other. But we talk trash to each other like every day, but like in a funny way.
Yeah.
To where it's like anybody else would be offended, but to him is like he doesn't really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't give a fuck because I hate my
don't take
work
anything
already.
personal.
So if he tells me he likes something, then I'm like, okay, that's probably good. Even though I may not personally like it,
Yeah, of course, man.
That's like something I kind of want to get on for you. Like, you know how like, when did you find your style? Like, do you have a time?
That's
when
a good question,
found...
man. Yeah, that's another big thing too. Is like when you're doing something like film or photo, like you definitely want to find people you get inspiration from,
100%,
and then try to use that. But you definitely don't want to like jack content or like steal an exact style. But I do recommend finding like find your favorite 3 people and be like, okay, what do I like from this? What do I like from this? And then make your own style. So one of the reasons that helped me make my style was watching Joe Simon do his thing, and then watching Liam Underwood. And I just kind of took the 2 styles and I'm like, whoa, okay, one's like really raw and organic, and one's really cinematic. So I had this really cool like recap style. If you look at my old stuff from like the Twonk days and the trap shows, it was really cool because I would show like a clip of him like walking the street being like, yo man, this food's really good, and then it would like cut to like a random raw clip drop, like you'd be like, whoa, what? And then it would go back to like this like glide cam cinematic. So you're like, it was just weird. I was like I have ADD really bad, so I feel like it was like ADD but a recap video, which now is like really cool. People love that, and Instagram is out, and everyone has a short attention span. But I pulled my style from other people. I think. I
don't care what anybody says. Everybody does that for music, for any creative.
Dude, anything you look at inspires you. Anything, whether it's art or picture or Facebook or a video, whatever. Everything you see, touch, feel, and hear inspires to what you create.
But I think what makes it art at the end of the day is your own perspective on it, your own
100%. 100%.
You know, like it's cool. Like you said, you can go ahead and get inspired by your favorite artist, but as long as you add something to it that makes it your own.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Dude, totally, man. Just like do what makes you happy and be yourself.
Because art is subjective.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That's like a big thing people have to understand.
I don't know if you ever heard this, but like one of my favorite quotes is like, "What's better, quantity or quality?" Now people would always say quality, right?
100%.
But I heard this one guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, say quality, and when asked why, he said because quality. Oh, sorry, was it quantity? He said quantity, and when they asked him why is quantity better than quality, he said because quality is subjective. And I was like, damn.
And I think he's talking, because like the one thing about Gary Vee, he's a social media guy, so he's just talking in the perspective of just having as much content as possible. Don't worry about the quality of it.
Because there is a line where people spend too much time working on one thing to where they get tunnel visioned in, and they make changes that shouldn't be made in the first place.
Totally, man.
And I think one of the examples that he used was he had this rapper, I think it was like Super Duper Kyle, or he had a big song on the radio, and he had him on one of his episodes, and he was talking about how like one of his biggest songs that made him go big is a song that they almost didn't even put out. It was a song that was on the back burner for the longest time, and they almost didn't put it out. But when they put it out, it was the song that made him go big.
That's really you should put it out there, man. Put your stuff out there, or you're never gonna get seen.
Yeah.
Like if you're just like trying to be perfect and hold yourself back and never release anything, then no one's gonna see your work. So I would say put it out there. Make it the best you can at that moment, and then the next time you do something, make it even better. But don't hold on to one thing and try to work on it forever and make it perfect.
See that perfectly segues into one of my last questions for you, bro.
Okay, cool.
what would you say to somebody who's out there who follows your work, or maybe they're just finding you, and your work inspires them, but they feel like their work isn't up to par to pursue it as a career, or even just pursue it in general?
Dude, I have a great actually answer to this question, and I just learned this story today because this random dude started talking to me. He's like, dude, at a restaurant, I was like, you look like you have good energy, man, and just started talking to me, and we started talking about like mandala effect and all these things and energy and being from the same tribe and third eye. Really interesting stuff. Anyways, I don't want to sound too hipsterish on you.
Yeah, I was like, damn, hippie shit. No,
but no, it was a random dude, and he was like, dude, like this is most important is like we're communicating. You know, he's like, whatever. Anyway, so I learned this story from this guy, so I'm gonna give him credit. But the story goes exactly what you're saying with people who are like struggling to create or whatever, you know, make something perfect. So basically, there's a story, and it's about a tomato. And there was a tomato competition in this town, right? This small town. This guy's like, all right, man. He's like, I'm going to make the best, biggest tomato. I'm going to win this competition, man. And he goes to the tomato farmer and goes, hey, man, I'm going to get like the best seed and the best firm soil. I'm going to plant it. And like, that'll make the best tomato, right? And he's like, nope, that won't work. And he's like, okay, cool. No worries. Okay, well, what if I get like this seed and I get this and I put like a lamp on it? He's like, no, it won't work. He's like, what if I get this seed and I put it in a greenhouse? Like, man, and will I grow the perfect, most best tomato ever? And the guy's like, no. And he's like, why, man? How do I grow the perfect tomato? And he's like, you can't grow the perfect tomato because when you plant a seed, it grows to be what it is. So the moral of that story is, it is what it is.
Damn, that's deep as fuck.
It's a tomato, but it's not. It's a tomato, but it's its own tomato. It's not going to be the best. It's not going to be the biggest. It's not going to look like every tomato. But like once you plant it, it grows out to be. It is what it is. So I say with that is like, you can't change who you are. You can't make anything perfect. You can just make it to the best of your ability and put it out there.
That's tight.
Yeah, it's a really freaking cool story.
Really
and I told it, I'm like, dude, that's so amazing. Like a story from a tomato gives you so much knowledge to life. It's like crazy.
Damn, and that actually was gonna be actually one of my last questions for you. Is any words of wisdom? Which you kind of nailed on the head right there, man.
Yeah, totally, man. Do that. Like I said, put it out there. That project, actually my last project, if you look it up or link it, it's called Perfectionism. Yeah. And the soundbite I got from there is from a Macklemore TEDx talk. I'm really big on TED Talk, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But Macklemore was talking about how, you know, don't worry about it being perfect. Just create because you love to do it and because it's fun. You know, like put it out there, and if it's not perfect, like I said, make more art, you know, and like there's only you're going to make that art. No one can make exactly what you're making.
So the only person you should be trying to please is yourself.
I mean, you know, like other people too, but yeah, please yourself. Just be happy. Like, don't do something because everyone else is doing it. If you really like doing like creating something a certain way, then that's you. Then do it, you know. But yeah, I would just say just create just for fun. Put it out there. Be a good person. Work hard. That's it, man. You'll kill it. But no one's ever going to see your work until you put it out there.
There you
so
go.
You heard it from here.
You heard it here first, people.
Words of wisdom. Thank you so much for coming by, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
We're gonna go ahead and link all your your Instagram, your reel, everything down below in the description. So if you guys want to check him out, he's at Dalton Campbell on Instagram.
That's everything, yeah.
That's on Instagram, and then Vimeo.com/TinyDesert. Tiny Desert's like my new company.
Ooh,
nice.
So I just wanted to create. I got tired of doing just solo gigs, so now I'm trying to do bigger, larger gigs.
Yeah.
So you get
where
a
I can
whole
bring
team
other
together.
creative people.
Yes.
To kind of like build and do bigger projects and move on from there. So, because it's like I was Dalton Campbell LLC, but Dalton Campbell LLC can't be in two places at once.
Right.
But Tiny Desert can be here and take multiple gigs. So that's kind of like the outlook on that. So yeah, Vimeo.com/TinyDesert. I haven't posting in a while, but there's some cool Galantis stuff on there. Perfectionism is my favorite piece. So if you watch that one's awesome. It's got a cool message behind it.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely post everything below so everybody can check it out and get to know
Totally,
you.
Man. Yeah.
So yeah, hit up Dalton on Instagram, and if you have any more questions, like hit him up.
Yep. And for you guys, smash that like button. Hit that subscribe.
Smash that like.
That's right. Smash it.
Smash it.
You know what? Literally. No, don't smash that like button. I dare you not to smash that like button. Because people usually don't want to do, you know.
What they tell you.
Yeah, they don't want to do what you tell them to do.
So it's that's right.
It's like what is it called? That reverse psychology?
Reverse psychology, homie.
Don't you dare subscribe.
Or if you resist it, just go ahead and smash that like button anyways.
Smite that. Smite that button.
Thank you for coming by, brother.
Yeah, man,
we'll have you on again at a different time, and we'll talk crypto.
Yeah, sounds good,
We'll
man.
talk a lot of other shit, too.
All right, guys.
Yeah, more hipster stuff.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next morning dinner.
Love y'all.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. In the goddamn goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.